S. The laughter hit first. Sharp and familiar. Slicing through the sizzle of premium brisket on the rented grills. I stood on the manicured lawn of the Woodlands Pavilion outside Houston. The one I'd booked and paid for outright, $8,000 for the afternoon, including the premium coolers stocked with craft IPAs and the Instagram-perfect gazebo strung with lights. My mother, Patricia, moved through the cluster of aunts, uncles, and cousins like a queen dispensing favors, handing out the custom aprons she'd ordered special. Grill master for Dad, George. Kiss the cook for my brother Brandon, whose logistics company was circling bankruptcy again. Barbecue goddess for my sister Taylor, who turned every family event into content for her 14,000-follower mommy blog empire. Then Patricia turned to me with that practiced half-smile that never warmed her eyes and held out the last apron. Queen of overreacting. Yellow thread on crisp white cotton. The group erupted. Brandon slapped his knee so hard his beer sloshed. Taylor snatched the apron from my hands, held it up for a selfie, then draped it across her own chest. Perfect for you, sis. You always take everything so seriously. That tightness in my chest, the one I'd carried since I was 7, squeezed like a vice. I felt 8 years old again. Standing in our old backyard while Brandon pointed at me after he shattered Mom's heirloom vase with a baseball. Lauren knocked it over running. I'd been sitting perfectly still at my tea party table with my doll. The punishment landed on me. The smirk on his face never left my memory. Taylor's failed spelling test became my distraction. Dad's missing wrench became my careless mistake, even though I was too short to reach the garage shelf. The family story was written early. I was the difficult one. The sensitive one. The problem. I didn't speak. My fingers moved on their own, calm, deliberate. I reached into my leather tote and pulled out the navy cap I'd had custom embroidered 3 weeks earlier. White thread. Bold block letters across the front. Not one of us. I settled it low on my forehead. Adjusted the brim so the words sat perfectly visible. The laughter died instantly, replaced by the low hum of the grills and distant traffic on the tollway. Patricia's voice cracked with that wounded tone she reserved for making me the villain. Lauren, what on earth is that supposed to mean? I met her eyes. Just dressing appropriately for once. Inside the tote lay the black leather box. 3 months of late nights with my legal team at Ellison Financial Partners, the firm I'd built from a single distressed energy client rescue into a 9-figure operation specializing in family office turnarounds. Inside were 3 portfolios, Patricia and George's $4 million lifetime retirement trust with full medical, long-term care, and travel provisions. Brandon's $2.5 million business rescue package, cash infusion plus mandatory board oversight. 3 guaranteed contracts from my network. And clawback protections so he couldn't burn it on another bad bet. Taylor's children's education trusts, private school through doctorate. Plus a separate fund for her to finish the interior design degree she dropped when she got pregnant at 22. Every clause ironclad. Tax optimized. Bulletproof against their worst impulses. This was supposed to be my final offering. The documented proof that I had value beyond writing checks in silence. The chance for them to finally see me. But the apron lay on the picnic table next to the from-scratch potato salad no one had thanked me for. Queen of overreacting glowing in cheerful thread. Taylor was still posing with it. Brandon was already 3 beers deep at noon, cracking jokes about Lauren's latest meltdown. The Dallas sun wait. Houston sun beat down. Mixing grill smoke with the roses I'd special ordered. Everything perfect. Everything I'd paid for. Memories flooded in. Each one sharper than the last. High school. My full-ride scholarship to Rice became Lauren acting like she's better than us. Brandon's state school acceptance, secured by Dad's golf club connections, earned a family party with a logo cake. Taylor's Paris study abroad semester came with a blank parental check. My Northwestern acceptance letter was met with Chicago's too far. Honey, maybe community college first. I took crushing private loans while Brandon wrecked his third car and got a fourth. While Taylor posted Louvre selfies, I survived on ramen and 3 jobs. The pattern never broke. Brandon's first business failed. I quietly paid the foreclosure. Taylor's youngest needed emergency surgery insurance denied. I wired $31,000 through an anonymous channel. Patricia and George's bad real estate flip. Their medical scares. The refinancing they botched, I covered every gap. Nearly $700,000 over 15 years. Never a thank you note. Never acknowledgement. Just expectation wrapped in crisis. Standing there. The black box grew heavier. I opened it. The portfolios caught the light. Gold embossing gleaming with their names in calligraphy. I held up the first. This was supposed to be for Mom and Dad. For million. Structured so you never worry again. Their eyes widened. I lifted the second. Brandon. 2.5 million plus contracts and oversight, your last real chance. His wife gripped his arm. Third portfolio. Taylor. Full rides for the kids through doctorate. Plus your design program in Austin. Your professor still remembers you. Silence swallowed the pavilion. Even the kids stopped running. Then Patricia gestured at the apron, still glowing on the table. Come on. Honey. It was just a joke. You're overreact. I smiled, the first real one in years. You're right. I am over it. I picked up the first portfolio. Opened it so they could see the thick stack of executed agreements. And began tearing. The sound cracked like a starter pistol. Patricia gasped. George took one involuntary step forward. I kept tearing methodically. Page by page until $4 million in security became confetti drifting onto the grass. Brandon's portfolio next. His wife actually lunged. I sidestepped and kept ripping. 2.5 million. 3 guaranteed contracts. 5-year turnaround plan, all reduced to black and cream shreds. Taylor's was last. The education projections. The professor's acceptance letter. The legacy language for her children. I tore slower here. Letting each rip land. You can't, Brandon started. I just did. Because none of this was ever yours. It was my last attempt to buy something that was never for sale. I recited the receipts while the pieces fell, the exact mortgage payoff 5 years ago. The surgery wire. The refinancing bailouts. The anonymous contract funnels that kept Brandon's doors open and Taylor's husband's crew employed. Every transfer documented. Every crisis they'd framed as family helping family, while they called me cold. Uptight. The family ATM with anxiety. The shredded paper glittered in the grass like fresh snow. I placed the empty box beside the discarded apron. Enjoy the barbecue. It's the last thing I'll ever pay for. I walked to my car without looking back. Behind me, the voices rose: accusation, panic, denial. My phone started buzzing before I reached the tollway. Taylor's edited video dropped within the hour, cropped footage of me tearing documents. Her voiceover painting me as the unhinged sister having a meltdown over a harmless joke. Hashtags, family drama toxic sis overreacting queen. The comments initially piled on. But I had spent the previous 10 years quietly archiving everything: bank records, texts begging for money, emails mocking my spreadsheet obsession right before asking for another 6 figures. I called Jennifer Alvarez at the Houston Chronicle, the journalist who'd profiled my firm's energy sector rescue 6 months earlier. 2 hours later, I sent the full package: destroyed contracts, past transfers with transaction IDs, side-by-side screenshots of Taylor's struggling mom posts next to my wires, Brandon's bankruptcy filings next to his recent boat purchase, Patricia and George's failed investments next to my bailouts, plus the photo of the apron laid out in full sunlight. My name practically glowing. The article dropped at 6 a.m. The next morning. Headline: Houston wealth manager secretly supported family for 15 years, then shredded $6 million in trusts after Queen of Overreacting Apron mockery. Receipts embedded. Client quotes praising my discretion and success. The Apron photo centered like evidence in a murder trial. By noon it was regional pickup. By evening, Queen of Overreacting trended nationwide, but not the way Taylor intended. The ratio was merciless. Brandon's biggest client pulled contracts within 48 hours after learning his self-made story was fiction. 2 more followed. His company folded in 10 days. Taylor's followers hemorrhaged, brand deals vanished. School moms she'd judged for accepting family help now iced her at pickup. Patricia and George's church financial literacy class turned awkward when the pastor verified the article. They were asked to step down. The IRS sent notices. Large undocumented gifts over years triggered audits and penalties they could no longer hide from. The family group chat became a civil war. Brandon's wife left, citing years of lies. Taylor's ex used the publicity to push for full custody. Patricia and George barely spoke, each blaming the other for losing their golden retirement. 6 months later, I stood on the stage at the Texas Family Office Summit in Austin. Navy blazer crisp. The same cap now framed in my office beside the Chronicle front page and a framed copy of the family's reconciliation letter. They offered to forgive my public humiliation if I resumed support and signed an NDA. I had it mounted like art. The keynote title, Boundaries When Success Makes You the Family Bank. I told the full story without rage, without embellishment. The room of 600 high-net-worth advisors and entrepreneurs listened in absolute silence, then gave a standing ovation. 3 new 9-figure mandates came from that single talk. Late at night, sometimes I still take the cap down, run my thumb over the white thread. Not one of us. It no longer feels like exile. It feels like the truest thing I ever claimed. The family survives. Brandon selling cars on commission. Taylor cleaning vacation rentals. Patricia and George in a modest apartment on the edge of Conroe. Honest work. Finally. No more secret safety net. And me? My firm crossed 9 figures again this quarter. I sleep without the knot in my chest. I date someone who celebrates my wins instead of resenting them. I no longer shrink to make others comfortable. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destruction. It's the quiet, irreversible decision to stop setting yourself on fire to keep everyone else warm.